I want me to support more to you because I need no, just close to me and keep me strong. Yeah, thank you. It's okay.
Moose still doing his thing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All I've ever heard about Moose is there.
Hello, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good. Awesome. Captain Liam, how are you doing? Fantastic. I'm doing good too. Thank you everybody for asking. It is a beautiful day here. We do have a moose out on the left-hand side. I'm sure you've all seen it already. It was just down there in the water. It's now just on the shores there, taking a stroll. Yeah, beautiful day to be here. Has anyone been here to Maligne Lake before? Yeah, you've been here? A few of you? Did anyone do the cruise with us? Yeah, how long ago was your cruise? 2 years ago? So do you remember quite a bit of it? The tour? Yeah?
It was the glass roof.
Okay, yeah. Some of the boats have the glass roofs. So I guess you will be fact checking me here today. So I need to make sure I'm on my best behavior. So that's, don't worry, I won't tell any lies. Liam keeps me honest too. Yeah. Oh, he was here last time?
Yeah.
Right on. You're a very memorable guy, Liam. I remember you too. So other than the few of you who have been here before, does anyone know where we're going today? Spirit Island. Okay, a lot of you know where we're going. Yeah, surprising. A lot of the time we get people come on board who have absolutely no idea where we're going. They just hopped on board with a couple of strangers looking for a good time, you know. We do deliver here. Sometimes we tell them we're going to Mexico. Captain Liam does know the way. It's a 3-day journey through an intricate series of waterways, and you don't need your passports that way, so it's all good. Yeah, today we are going to Spirit Island, not Mexico. It's going to be about a 35-minute drive to Spirit Island. We're going to dock the boat for 15 minutes. We're going to get out beside the island, walk around, take a bunch of pictures, and then 35 minutes back. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay, perfect, because the boat has left the docks and it doesn't turn around until the end of the tour. And from this point, it's a very long, cold swim back. So I'm really glad we're all on the same page here. Okay. So my name is Connor. I introduced myself to you. I'm originally from just outside of Toronto, Ontario, but I haven't been there in a few years. I was out west on Vancouver Island for a few years. Now I'm here, and if you've ever been to Mississauga, you probably understand why I don't want to go back. Yeah, you understand, sir? Yeah, you get it. Where are you from? Markham? Okay, yeah, pretty close by. Right on. So I am the one up talking. I am the tour guide, but I am also, unfortunately, the least important person on board today. You are all much more important than me, right? You're our guests here. We want to make sure you're having a good time. So at any point throughout the tour, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, insults, you can just go ahead and shout them out. You can raise your hand too if you're extra polite. You can throw things at me, preferably snacks, to get my attention. But as important as all of you are, there is one person who is more important, right? Just at the top of the chain here. You want to guess who it might be? Captain Liam, exactly. Most important person here on the vessel. He is responsible for our safety. He also did that official head count when we got on board, so he does decide who comes back from Spirit Island with us. So we want to make sure that we keep him nice and happy. So to do that, I do have to give a quick safety speech before we get too far. So we are certified by Transport Canada. In the unlikely event of an emergency, remain calm, follow instructions given by your captain and crew. And we are on a boat out on the water, so what's one thing you always need with you? Life jackets, yeah, exactly. So everyone brought one with them today? Yeah, you did? Okay, you came prepared. For anyone who might have forgotten, yeah, we do have one for everyone. They're just underneath your seats there. I see a few of you checking. Now I know who doesn't trust me, okay? But yeah, you can reach down, tap them if it makes you feel more comfortable. We also have children's life jackets. They're just behind me in the bow compartment. I would distribute those if necessary. We also do have a life raft on board. It was the big white canister up on the roof you may have noticed as you were loading up. And so if we needed to evacuate the vessel, I would put on a life jacket, run up there, toss it overboard, yank a cord, and it would inflate, and we would have a dry evacuation. We would go from the boat to the raft to the shore. We'd never enter the frigid waters of Maligne Lake, but don't worry, I wouldn't bring the microphone along, and we would continue the tour maneuver. It might take a little longer to get there though, and I'm going to need some volunteers to help us paddle, but nothing's getting in the way of our fun today. And as you just noticed, we are out of home bay now, so we're going to be getting up to cruising speed, but we will be slowing down periodically throughout the journey. And that's because Captain Liam has a keen eye, and he's looking out for the smaller vessels we share the water with. So the canoes, kayakers, we produce a very large wake or wave behind our boat, and we don't want that to swamp or flip over anyone into the icy cold waters of Maligne Lake. It does sit around 5 degrees Celsius, which is definitely a hypothermia risk. So we just want to be kind, courteous, make sure everyone on the water is safe and having fun. However, we will not be slowing down or showing any courtesy whatsoever to our sister vessels. So all the other boats out on the water who look a lot like us, but when they pass by on the port or left-hand side, if you look closely, you'll notice the main differences are the crew and passengers in those other vessels aren't nearly as attractive, and they're not having half as much fun as we are. So you're definitely on the right boat here today, but we will be going straight at them, and then we will be doing an evasive maneuver known as a wake crossing. So if both captains will turn right and then turn left, we will pass around the other vessel, and then we will cross over their wake. There will be a bit of a bump and a splash, but I'll give you a warning when this is going to occur so that you can pull any phones, cameras, husbands, children, anything hanging outside of the window, bring them back in so you don't lose anything. And if you did drop a phone or a camera into the lake, what you can do is put up your hand, and I'll come over and put up my hand. I'll let Liam here know, he'll put up his hand, and all of us will wave it goodbye together. Once it hits the water, it does sink down to the bottom of the lake very fast, and we have no way of retrieving it, so just keep a good firm grip on all of those devices. And if at any point in the tour you want to get some fresh air, take in some mountain views, enjoy a moment of silence away from the sound of my voice, the back deck will be available for your use. We do have a few rules out there though, so 8 people maximum at a time. For weight distribution, it is a standing only zone, absolutely no sitting. The gunnel and the handrail are not seats and backrests. It's possible that someone could slip off, and we do have propellers at the stern of the boat, which would not be a good mix. So everyone must be standing at all times so I can see you and make sure you're safe. And please close the door when you come in and go out. The engines are very loud. Please share the space with others. We have more than 8 people on board, so if you've been out there for a while and the back deck is at capacity, please come back inside so that someone else has a chance to enjoy that space. And since there is no PA system out there, you won't hear my warning for the wake crossing, so just stay alert out there, keep your head up. When you see a big bad boat go by, again on the port or left-hand side, you know that wake crossing is coming. And just keep a hand on that handrail. And just one last thing about life jackets, you do all have instructions of how to don them, just on the seat back in front of you. So if you would like to take a quick look at that, we would only ever put life jackets on under the express command of your captain or myself, and they would only be put on the back deck. We do have a ceiling here inside the boat, so if you put the life jacket on too early, it would be much harder to get out of the vessel, so don't jump the gun on that. And that is the safety speech. Does everyone feel safe?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a few. Captain Liam, sounds good? We got a thumbs up and a nod. Okay, perfect. So yeah, feel free to enjoy that back deck now, and I'll just give you a minute to get acquainted, and then we'll continue the tour.
Sorry. Yeah, periodically, just ask them to stay standing just so it doesn't block the view too much for people behind. Like, we want to get up, snap some photos, go for it.
Yeah, no, we do love questions here, and we do have a very good question to start us off. How big is the lake? We are a finger lake here at Maligne Lake, so we're pretty long. We are 22 kilometers long, or about 14 miles, but we're pretty thin. So at the widest point, we're 1.8 kilometers, or about a mile wide. And then down in the narrows, the most narrow point of the lake, we're only about 100 meters, or about 300 feet. So yeah, pretty big lake. It's also a very deep lake, so the indigenous people of Canada, you know, the first people who would have traveled through these areas, called them home, lived here traditionally. So just on that note, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Stoney, Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, who lived here, cared for the land for generations, and we are very privileged to be here today. But they were very in tune with their environment, so they would come up here, they would put their canoes in the water, and they would paddle their way out to Spirit Island for a variety of spiritual ceremonies. So they would have healing ceremonies, peace pipe ceremonies, coming of age ceremonies, and then they would head back north, so the direction that we just came from, and then go down into the Lee Valley to hunt and forage for the summer. And as they were paddling the lake, they would look up at the very tall peaks surrounding them and how steeply they dropped off, and so they deduced that the terrain underneath the lake must look the same. And one of their names in the Stoney language for this lake was Ome-Idwa, which means deep and healing waters. And with our modern technology like sonar, depth sounders, we know that the lake at its deepest point is 97 meters deep, or about 320 feet. And those big numbers don't mean much to you, like they don't to me. I'll give you a visual reference. Everyone knows the Statue of Liberty, right? Big green lady in New York. So she stands at 93 meters tall. Yeah, so hypothetically, Captain Liam and I could run down to New York and steal the Statue of Liberty and somehow haul her all the way up here, and if we dropped her down at that deepest point, Liam could drive donuts over her all day and no one would ever know she was down there. Has anyone been to New York recently? Yeah, is the Statue of Liberty still there? Yeah, okay. Just wait, just wait. Yeah, I do like the hats, the New York hats. You must have been there pretty recently. And so, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about trees? Do you want to talk about mountains? I mean, beer? I like beer. There's no beer here on the boat. No, sorry. You know, Captain Liam and I, we can't be trusted with beer on board, so. Oh, bears. Sorry. We don't normally see bears from the tour, no. Like, there are bears in the area, but our forests are very dense. And, you know, we're out in the middle of the lake, we move pretty fast, so we do not see normally much wildlife from our tour. So the fact that we saw that moose and those deer earlier, that is very, very special. They do come around, but not very frequently. Yeah, so it's a good day. Any other questions from anybody? Get going? You just want me to go ramble? We can do that. Okay, so it does get very cold here in the winter. So our average temperature through the winter is negative 20 degrees Celsius, but the coldest recorded temperature here was negative 56 degrees Celsius. Which, did anyone need that in American or in Fahrenheit? A few of you? It's just cold, right? Very, very cold. At that point, doesn't matter. It is around negative 70 Fahrenheit, but in my personal opinion, once they meet up at negative 40, past that, it's just cold. You're not going to catch me outside. Liam and I are both avid ice climbers, and I like to get out backcountry skiing in the winter. I'm probably not going to be outside negative 56 though. What about you, Liam? 2 goal for Liam, and he loves that stuff. Sorry, what day? Soup day. Yeah, I love it. Well, that was going to be my question to you. Do you think the lake freezes? So I know you do, but a show of hands. Who thinks that it's a big lake, but it gets very cold? Does the lake freeze in the winter? Okay, show of hands if you think the lake doesn't freeze. And a show of hands for everyone who didn't want to put their hand up. Okay, we got 2 back there, right on. So, just a tip, next time if I put my hand up, you probably should too, right? The lake does freeze, it is Canada. Everything freezes up here, the lake, me, Liam, all of you. The lake is completely frozen over, tip to tip, shore to shore for about 7 months of the year. Yeah, which is pretty impressive. The ice will be about a meter or 3 feet thick. So you think that it would be great for ice skating, right? And I would love to play a game of hockey up here beneath the mountains, but we get a lot of snowfall up here, so you really have to like shoveling snow more than you like skating. We'll get 2 to 3 meters or like 6 to 9 feet of dense, heavy snow on top of that ice. And we are about to have a wake crossing here, everybody, so just give you a warning. Yeah, wake crossing here in 3, 2, 1.5, 1.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we won't be offended if that's your favorite part of the tour. It's our favorite part. It is the one and only roller coaster here in Jasper, and it's a pretty good time. So I know it might be kind of hard to believe from the nice comfortable seats on this cozy fast moving cruise boat, but we are in the backcountry of Jasper National Park now. There's no more development since we left Home Bay, no buildings, no roads, no trails at all. The only way to get out on the water is by the water. So this is the fastest, easiest, and most convenient way to get to Spirit Island, but other options would be to rent or bring a canoe or a kayak. You can have electric trolling motors here on the lake, but there's no combustion engines allowed on the lakes of the national park other than these cruise boats here on this lake and the park warden's vessel. Because these tours were actually grandfathered in. They've been going on for 95 years now. So before Jasper was actually a national park. Yeah, so Jasper became a national park in 1930. These boat cruises started back in 1928. And that's why we're still running today. We're kind of part of the history of the area at this point.
Have you been to is that called Valley of God?
It's called the Hall of the Gods.
Hall of God.
Yeah,
Have you been there?
Yeah, the only way to get out there is to paddle. Yeah, so canoe. So it
How many
takes.
days?
You can get out there in like 6 to 9 hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's like the only way to get out on the lake is from Home Bay. There's no other boat launches, no roads or anything. So you need to start there just like we did today. And yeah, you can paddle.
6 to 9 hours. Then
Yeah.
you camp there for 1 night.
Yeah, there's a backcountry campsite, so there are 3.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So we were just talking about how to get out to the end of the lake, okay? So the lake is 22 kilometers long. We're only going about 14 kilometers down the lake today to Spirit Island. That is where our lease ends. That's the only purpose. This is the only place we go here on the lake. We have no reason to go to the end of the lake. So the last 8 kilometers of the lake are deemed a pristine wilderness zone. So we don't want any noise pollution or anything with the big cruise boats going through. So the only way to get out to the end of the lake is to paddle, and everyone has to leave from the same point we did today, from Home Bay. There's no way to get out, like cruise boats can't take you halfway out and drop you off with your canoe. There's no road to drive down and launch your canoe closer. Only way to get out here is from Home Bay there. And it'll take like 3 to 5 hours to paddle to Spirit Island. And it'll take anywhere from 6 to 9 hours to get out to Coronet Creek, which is the farthest backcountry campsite here at Maligne Lake. We do have 3, so we actually just passed one a little while ago on the right-hand side of the boat. It's called Hidden Cove. I didn't point it out because it is a hidden cove, and we can't see it from where we drive our boats. But that only takes about 45 minutes to paddle to. We're gonna have another campsite in the narrows of the lake. So when we start doing a little zigzag, there'll be Fisherman's Bay on the left-hand side, and then way out is Coronet Creek. And these can be booked and reserved on the Parks Canada website. But yeah, the only way to camp here at the lake is at one of those campsites, and you do need a reservation, which are very hard to come by. They book up very fast. Yeah, so you have to canoe out, or an electric trolling motor, which, yeah, I believe that they have a troller there on their fishing vessel there. Yeah, you can bring private vessels, but no combustion engines. So you can bring a private vessel and paddle it, or have that electric motor, but you can't come out here with a gasoline or diesel inboard or outboard. So we do have two mountain ranges that we can see right now. So out on the right-hand side of the boat, you're gonna see some mountains. They do look more like soft rolling hills though. These are the Bald Hills, and this actually marks the end of the Maligne mountain range. So you actually would have seen the whole thing on your drive up here today. Starts down in Jasper, comes up a relatively straight line. So it starts with Single Mountain, comes down, ends with the Bald Hills here, drops off into that valley there. And then on the other side of that valley, so up ahead to the right, straight ahead, and out to the left, these are much more impressive mountains, right? They're taller, they're bigger. We're gonna have a wake crossing here. 3, 2, 1, here we go. And so the mountains that look like, you know, what you think when you think Canadian Rocky Mountain mountains. Again, to the right, straight ahead, to the left. These are all part of the Queen Elizabeth mountain range. Does anyone know who that's named after? Well, there are two of them, right? So was it Queen Elizabeth I or Queen Elizabeth II? Anyone want to guess? It's a 50-50 chance, right? The first? Does she speak for everybody? We're locking that answer in. And the second? So one of you two is right, and it is the second. So this was named for Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you for your guesses, though. I really appreciate that. It was given to her as a gift for her coronation back in 1953. Canada is part of the Commonwealth here, so we had to get the Queen something. But I guess it's pretty tough to get something for the woman who has everything, right? The Queen of England. So apparently, we assembled a panel of experts. Experts on what? I really don't know. But they thought long and hard, trying to decide what we were going to gift to the Queen. And our best guess is that one of them heard that women like big rocks, but they got a little bit confused, and instead of getting her a diamond or something, they got her a big pile of rocks in the middle of nowhere. Which, back in the 50s, this truly was the middle of nowhere. The road coming up to Maligne Lake was not completed and paved until 1970. So back when she was given this beautiful gift, the most convenient way to get up to the lake was a 3-day journey on horseback. Yeah, so do you think that the Queen ever found time to come up and see her mountains? No, she didn't. She never saw them. But we're just gonna have to enjoy them for her. And it is a very unique mountain range, actually. Very few mountain ranges in the world form this way. It actually is a hook or a J shape. Most mountains rise up in a straight line, but the Queen Elizabeth range here starts just to our right here with Mount Unwin, and it goes all the way out to the end of the lake. It wraps around the end of the lake and it comes back here on the left hand side. And the mountain ranges here are actually very similar in age geologically, but you know, the Bald Hills there have clearly are just a shadow of what they once were. They used to apparently stand as tall as the Himalayas, around 6,000 meters, but they have just been ground down by time and erosion. The Bald Hills there are made up mostly of sandstone and shale, which are much softer, crumblier materials, more prone to the effects of weathering. But the Queen Elizabeth range here is made of limestone and dolomite, which are much more resistant to that weathering, and that's why after all this time they still stand so tall and impressive. And I'll give you all just a minute, you know, a little bit of a break for my voice. I have been talking quite a bit since we left Home Bay, and I'll come around and talk to you. If you have any questions, just let me know. Got any questions?